Yes, Maharaj. So we're 5 minutes in. We've got a good number of devotees with us. No doubt more will join us. And this is still the wonderful day of Sri Vyasa Puja of Srila Gurudev. And for many in the European side of the world, Western Russia, Ukraine, Abkhazia, Italy, England, I think most of us have just had a big feast in honor of His divine grace.
We're still recovering from the feast here.
We are in only the first stages of recovery.
Do I see Devashis Prabhu?
Yes.
Yes. I was hankering to hear something from him in glorification of Srila Gurudev.
Indeed, Maharaj.
So if we can begin with our obeisances to the Vaishnavas who are oceans of mercy, and then hear something from Devashis Prabhu. Right? Vancha kalpa tribhyascha kripa sindhu bevacha patitanam pavanebhyo namo. Divine grace, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj, Avirbhav Mahamahotsavatiti ki jai, Vyasa Puja ki jai, Taiko Premanande.
Hari Hari Bo.
Like the London Secretary Devashis Prabhu, disciple of Srila Guru Maharaj and servitor of Srila Gurudev, also his Shiksha disciple. So Devashis Prabhu, please say something in glorification of His divine grace.
Maharaj. So we are here in the East London temple today. Few of us because of the lockdown, but others are in the kitchen and will join us in a few minutes. Unlike Srila Madhusudan Maharaj, we are still in anticipation of offering the feast to Srila Gurudev. But I would like, just before I begin, to Guru Maharaj's Thakur, Sri Guru Goranga Radha Sham Sundar.
Jai Radha Shyamas Mahaprabhu and Radha Shyamas Sundar. Hare Krishna, very beautiful in London.
Yes.
Since the time of Srila Guru Maharaj.
And the picture's not very clear, but I'm Srila
Hare
Gurudev.
Krishna, Gurudev's chair, Asan, Vyasa Asan. Hare Krishna.
So, with us here, Surendra Mohan Prabhu, Srila Gurudev's disciple, Sripad Darkesh Prabhu, Srila Guru Maharaj's disciple, and our very good friend Bharat Prabhu. You can show your face, Prabhu, to the. He's always coming and serving with us. And others are here also. So, I heard your talks this morning. That time I was washing pots and cooking, and we were preparing for here. And yesterday we were only able to join for a few minutes because usually the Adivas means no time for anything for us here. But we take that as Gurudev's grace upon us to be engaged by him. And as you know, on each of his 24 world tours, he came here to London and stayed with us, as you all did many times. And we were very blessed for that. And when Gurudev would come here, he would always say, I am so happy to be in my Guru Maharaj's mat. So we are trying, not always succeeding, but we are trying to maintain this mat as Srila Guru Maharaj's mat. And although it is impossible, but trying to keep the standard that Srila Guru Maharaj would expect in his own mat. And Srila Gurudev was always very much in favor of that and encouraging us in that way. And we can say, just recently I was reflecting, Srila Gurudev himself, he said, my first lesson from Srila Guru Maharaj was or one of my first lessons was Nirmatsaranam.
Always.
That means to serve the Vaishnavas without envy, And Gurudev said this was how Guru Maharaj taught us right from the very beginning. And we see in Srila Gurudev himself that actually not only was he non-envious, he was always seeing only the Vaishnavata in the devotees, and always overlooking our many defects and encouraging us in our service to Srila Guru Maharaj. And he himself, as we heard from Guru Maharaj, Guru Maharaj said he is a natural Paramahansa, and we saw in his nature that almost he is unconventional in his Vaishnavata, in as much as if there's a dictionary or an encyclopedia of spirituality somewhere in the Akash, and if you look up the word sadhu, you must see a picture of Srila Sridhar Maharaj next to that definition, because he is the very epitome of that. But Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, he is like an Avadhut in his behavior. That he actually, with himself, he is very strict, but with everybody else, he's very liberal. So liberal that sometimes just to be in the room, just to be counted, your head to be counted in the room with him was enough to be recognized as a devotee. And we saw right from the very beginning, when Srila Gurudev would come, he would meet the devotees at the airport and give a big embrace, a hug to everyone, even though he doesn't even know who they are. Sometimes he's hugging the devotee and at the same time looking at me like, and that was kind of one of my services, was to remind him of the names of the devotees or introduce those devotees to him. But Srila Gurudev, even he said, I am believing everybody, and this is my fault, because not everyone is showing sincerely who they are, but I believe everybody, and I'm giving embrace to everyone. And after maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 visits, he said, oh, I should stop this now, like giving embrace to everybody. But we saw that was his nature, to embrace everyone. Anyone that had some slight inclination to hear the glories of Srila Guru Maharaj, to hear the Siddhanta of Srila Guru Maharaj. He was like Nityananda Prabhu, going door to door with the straw between his teeth, saying, if you take the name of Mahaprabhu, I'm your slave, I'll be your slave. And Gurudev was like that. Anyone that would come to Srila Guru Maharaj, he was like that. He wants to serve those devotees, whoever they are, high, low, small, big devotee. That wasn't his consideration. Only that they want to hear something from Guru Maharaj. And we know, as you very nicely expressed this morning, Maharaj, that everything was orchestrated by him, that we could come to the lotus feet of Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj would say, oh, sorry, I am not so, I'm not feeling very well, or I'm not so inclined to speak to them. And Gurudev would say, oh, it's just a few minutes. They've come from so far to hear from you. 5 minutes. They'll be happy. They'll give some pranam. They'll be happy. And Gurudev, encouraged by Guru Maharaj, encouraged by Srila Gurudev, he would come forward, and with the intention of 5 minutes, just to say hello, just to give something. And then an hour later, he's in full swing of deep Hari Katha. And we were the beneficiaries of that. And that was like the joy of Srila Gurudev, that he could bring anyone to the lotus feet of Guru Maharaj. That was his joy. That was his life, his very life. And even after Guru Maharaj's disappearance, when he's going all over the world with that same enthusiasm to introduce everyone to Guru Maharaj's Susiddhanta and embracing everybody in that. He would say, sometimes he would say, if I told everyone really what is Krishna consciousness, they would leave this mission. But I do not want anybody to leave, so I'm not telling everything to them. And, you know, that was important to Gurudev, that everybody will stay, that everybody will serve, that everybody will hear from Gurudev. And, you know, as I mentioned earlier, just being there, turning up, that was often enough for him as far as he was concerned. And we saw that so many, they turned up, irresistibly attracted by his Vaishnava nature, and they would come and they would want to give themselves to him, to receive Harinam from him. And then once he was gone, we never saw them ever again. In fact, we had one devotee here who was very belligerent towards the other devotees, and he was always, you know, causing problems with them. Sometimes pushing them in the arti, sometimes kicking them, sometimes making all kinds of offenses to them. And he asked Gurudev, "Can I take Harinam?" And we all thought, and Gurudev knew like what his nature is, but we thought, oh no, he's not going to give Harinam to him. This guy's a nonsense. And Gurudev gave him Harinam, and then afterwards he said, "And Prabhu, your service is to never come to this temple ever again." and being a good servitor, he never came again.
Followed the order of Guru.
But it was so beautiful that we were able to have his association. We remember Srila Guru Maharaj lamenting, you know, 10 years with Prabhupada, 50 years alone. And, you know, that could have been our fate also, you know, with Srila Sridhar Maharaj, 6 years we had association with him. And that was also, you know, like in his last days. But over 25 years we had with Srila Govinda Maharaj. So who can say that? Not even the followers of Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta, can say they had that kind of association, that amount of association. And it was a miraculous thing, a wonderful thing. And we thought that would never end, actually. But we couldn't conceive that such a thing would end. And also we could not conceive of that fortune that we had. And what can we say? You know, Gurudev was so merciful to us and so happy when he came to London, although our temple is very small. Although I can report now we have some extra rooms. We've done a loft extension here, so we can accommodate a few more people now. But always he would say, oh, so small the temple, because, you know, we had to come into Gurudev's room in shifts so that everybody could get some time with him. Some people would be standing outside in the street, but the temple was bursting when Gurudev was here, always. And nobody complained, actually. Nobody complained. Everybody was ecstatic to be here. Even if they could sit with Gurudev just for a few minutes, they were so happy for that. And we were also so happy. And I remember one year when Gurudev came, and Dayanidhi Prabhu was leading the kirtan, and Gurudev came in and offered his Dandavat Pranam to Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Radha Shyam Sundar, and then stayed with the kirtan for a few minutes, and then he went up to his room, and I also went to the room with him, and Siddhanti Maharaj was with him too at that time, and perhaps Bhakti Lalita Didi, I forget, but there were 2 or 3 of us with Gurudev and in his room, and the kirtan's going on downstairs, and the kirtan is so loud that Gurudev wants to speak something to me, but I can't hear what he's saying, and he can't hear what I'm saying because the kirtan is so loud. And so Siddhanti Maharaj went to close the door of his room to make it a little quieter, but Gurudev stopped him. No, Prabhu, Do not close the door. I have just traveled 3,000 miles from India, where this kirtan is going on. And when I arrive here, this same kirtan is going on. And that's why I've come here, to hear this kirtan, to hear this kirtan. And this was Gurudev's mood when he was here in London, and so giving, and also not always well. Sometimes he came, one time when he came, his heart was so enlarged that from the very first day we had to have the doctor come to attend him. And I said to Maharaj, why did you come? And, you know, even his doctors advised him not to travel, but he said, I cannot, I don't care if I die in Navadvip or if I die here, it's the same to me. But I want to die in the service of Guru Maharaj. And Guru Maharaj gave me this responsibility to take care of his devotees. So we saw, you know, like so much sacrificing nature. We cannot imagine how much he sacrificed of himself. And when he was here in London, sometimes how much he was suffering, but still giving of himself to the devotees. And as you know, Gurudev used to like to take prasadam alone or with a select few other devotees. But often we couldn't get the devotees to leave to let Gurudev take prasadam. They would sit in the room while Gurudev's eating, and Gurudev is just like tolerating that. And we're trying to shoo people out, but they won't go. Even I heard people say, I'm not going, I'm staying here. And then one day I said to Gurudev, Maharaj, you must feel like an exhibition in the zoo sometimes, I think. And Gurudev said, yes, Prabhu, that's exactly how I feel. Exactly how I feel. But still, those people stayed in the room. They didn't get the hint. They had to still stay. But Gurudev, so, you know, like super tolerant and giving of himself to such a degree, we can't begin to imagine what that, you know, like what kind of toll that took on his health. But still, he, with a smile, he's doing that. And as you said, every morning up at 3 o'clock, and every morning, you know, ready to receive the devotees, and from morning to night. And of course, those of you who've been here will know that opposite us, it was the West Ham United football ground. That's gone now. They've moved to another place, but in the time of Gurudev, that was the stadium was there. And one day Gurudev said to me, oh, Prabhu, can you take me to the football match? And I said, yes, Maharaj, I can take you. They'll be happy. We'll arrange it. You can go. And then he said, what time is the kickoff? I said, it's 2:30. He said, oh, that's my resting time. I won't be able to go. And we remember, you know, when they had the football match, the street is like more or less closed off, and you know, there's like all these vendors down the street selling hot dogs and burgers and everything, you know. And Gurudev remarked, oh, hot dogs, do they also sell hot cats as well? And I was sitting in his room, at the front room, looking out of the window, and opposite is Ken's Cafe. And almost always he would remark, Ken's Cafe, he would say, and looking there. And we are sure that Ken, who actually recently sold up, is now, you know, has much spiritual wealth just from being recognized by Srila Gurudev in the street. He is also part of Srila Gurudev's eternal Leela, you could say. And the few times when I was with Gurudev in other places around the world, he is always so merciful to everybody and so much giving of himself to everybody, and perfect. He himself so perfect that, you know, the mission became quite big, but only one man was necessary to manage that mission in the time of Gurudev, and that was Gurudev himself. He was managing everything, and nobody ever disputed whatever he said. Everyone accepted, yes, that is perfect. And once somebody told, introduce me in front of him. This is Devashis, he's the temple president. And Gurudev said, no, I am the only president of Chaitanya Saraswat Math. There is only one president of Chaitanya Saraswat Math, and that is me. So he didn't like that title of temple president. He preferred a more, humble position of secretary. And you are the secretary of the London Mission. And that's my great fortune that in 2000, the year 2000, Gurudev made me the secretary of the London Mission. And I've tried my very best to serve all the Vaishnavas in that role since then. And really, I consider myself only that, a humble servant of the servitors of Srila Gurudev here in the London Mott. And that my only aspiration is that that he will continue to give his grace to us here, that we can practice Krishna consciousness in the line of Srila Guru Maharaj. That every talk here will be in the line of Srila Guru Maharaj. That every service that we do here will be in the line of Srila Guru Maharaj. Srila Gurudev himself said, after he gave me charge, within a year I managed to pay off the mortgage of the temple here. And actually I didn't pay anything, but the Vaishnavas paid, but that was my priority. And when we told Gurudev, Gurudev was so happy for that. And he said, it may be big or it may be small, that is not the criterion. Only the criterion is that it will be 100% Guru Maharaj. And that we are trying to do. And Srila Gurudev is our strength and our inspiration. And as long as we are able to remember his lotus feet and his affectionate dealings with the Vaishnavas, we will try also to do that. Once he told me, I was complaining to him, some devotees, we are giving them some opportunity for collection for the temple, and then they are stealing the money, keeping all the money for themselves. And Gurudev said, yes, Prabhu, everywhere that is happening. Even the devotees, they are stealing from me. But it is okay. I do not care. So, Gurudev, even when devotees were personally stealing from him, still he was giving his mercy to them. And so we may be fallen souls, no doubt, but we are trying heart and soul to represent him to the world. And we know that his only mission, life and death, everything was Srila Guru Maharaj. And Srila Guru Maharaj, his inspiration, his bhajan, his puja, his service, his everything, Srila Guru Maharaj. And for that reason, we love him. And his inspiration actually is everything to us. And really, I can say, if I can say that I love anyone in this world, it's him. So I offer my obeisance at his lotus feet again and again, and pray he will forgive me my offenses. Jai Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Gurudev Vyasa Puja Mahamahotsav ki jai.
I see Devashis Prabhu ki jai, in the London Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math ki jai. I also remember being there. There's double, we're hearing it. And in Srila Gurudev's room, as you say, we go in there early in the morning. And it's, as you said, very small. But he said, it's our mat, for Srila Guru Maharaj. And when preparing to go, I think, from there to Venezuela, as I recall, there's a frenzy of all the servitors running around and getting his paraphernalia ready to travel, because that could include like a giant suitcase of muri, you know, then another suitcase of like chanachur, you know? And then, you know, another one, like it's all medicine. I remember at one of the customs places, when they opened up, it looked like a pharmacy, you know, and they're like, whoa, you know, like who carries that much medicine around? But so they're running here and there in a frenzy, getting ready to load up everything, go to the airport. And I was there with Srila Gurudev, some garam jal and a snack. And that's when he said to me, he was just sort of wistfully thinking about his life and the journey of his life to the lotus feet of Guru Maharaj, and then the acharjaship of the Mat and all. And he said, Maharaj, you cannot imagine how happy my life was before. And I was thinking, normally, when people are telling their, you know, how I came to Krishna consciousness story, it's usually before that, how miserable they were. And then they got the connection of devotees and, you know, some hope came to them, some new life. But Gurudev was saying how happy I was before, you know. And Bamanpar, as we told, that's his birthplace, that his mother prayed to Buraj, Shiva deity. Those who have seen, it's beneath the earth by like a meter or maybe more, right? That's what Bu means, the earth. Anyway, Buraj, the Shiva deity, she prayed to him for a son, and some inspiration came. You'll get a son, but at 17, he'll take sannyas. So his father and mother were thinking, oh, there's a custom, a local custom in Bengal, what they call Shiva sannyas, where boys take sannyas for like 2 weeks, you know, on a particular astrological time. And they're thinking, oh, okay, when that comes, he'll also do that. And Gurudev said, she did not know that it would be forever. Right? So anyway, so he's saying how happy he was there in Bamanpar. And the way he described it, he said, I loved everyone and everyone loved me. He said, I loved the trees and the trees loved me. The birds and the animals, he was naming everything, how much he loved them and they loved him. And then he said, even the rickshaws, you know, it's like put them somewhere below, like lower species of life practically. Even the rickshaw, they love me, I love them. And Guru Maharaj had sent Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, this is 1947. So it means the Mat has been an ashram for maybe 6 years at that point. And so he sent a preacher going village to village. And the preacher of Chaitanya Saraswat Mat comes to Bamanpar. And the way Gurudev said it, he said, then Guru Maharaj's representative came. He said, talking this nonsense. Your mother is nothing. Your father is nothing. This world is nothing. You'll have to give it all up. And he was basically saying, like, he burst my happy bubble. He said, because, although he's saying this nonsense, what is that nonsense? Atmagyan. So he's speaking ironically, but he's saying, but what I could not deny was the truth of what he was saying. That's what spoiled everything. I could not deny that what he's saying is true. And that was what was resonating in my heart. So, and then of course, at that point, he went with that servitor, they swam across the Ganga. and came to the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, and that devotee, seeing some apprehension in Gurudev's face, that because Gurudev explained, he said, I'd read Ramayana and understood like what is an ashram of a great sage, and then I'm seeing this and I was a little apprehensive. And that devotee said to him, it may be a small ashram, but there's a big sadhu inside. And Guru was like, oh, all right, all right. And then we mentioned some of the other things. Guru Maharaj saying to him, how long will you stay? Gurudev saying, when I come, it's forever. Will you follow me and not your own mind? Yes. And then his mother and the local village people, she got the elders there because she wanted to go to Chaitanya Saraswat Mat and get her son back. Right? So, Hare Krishna. He would sometimes call her that dear lady. Hare Krishna. What was her spiritual name? Tarangini. Thakur Ma means grandmother, but Tarangini, that's very beautiful, like the waves of divine devotional current. And so she wanted this was before coming and also getting shelter of Guru Maharaj. So she wanted to take him back and got the elders, and they marched to the Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. And they're demanding that he return, and there's some, Guru Maharaj is upstairs, but they're going back and forth about what should be done. And we had heard the legend at Chaitanya Saraswat Mat that there was a devotee who was so determined to stay in the Mat that when someone came for him, that, you know, in Indian windows, you open the shutters, the wooden doors, and there are bars. This is before there's any screen or anything, just metal bars. And that some devotee was holding onto these bars and they're pulling him. And then we later found out who that devotee was. It was Srila Govinda Maharaj. And that's what it was. The family, imagine, they're pulling him, literally, physically pulling him. And he's holding the bars on, and he's refusing to go. And Guru Maharaj said, then a milkman came and said, don't force him. Please, do not do this. Like, let him have a choice. Does he want to stay or go? And of course, he stayed. And just one other thing, in Madhusudan Maharaj, I will say that you can see the gallery better than I can. So if you can be prepared to select the next person who will speak. And just one other thing to say, that when Devashis Prabhu was saying the Nirmat Saranam Satam, that first sloka of the Bhagavatam, and how this being emphasized by Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, to be non-envious of the devotees. And there was one Russian gentleman in our mission, and I thought he was too critical of the leadership in a very, in a way that was damaging to the faith of others. So I was lobbying for him to be ousted. But at that time, Avadhut Maharaj, who's ever merciful, he would always say, he just needs association. You know? And Gurudev was saying similar things, and I thought, I need to readjust myself. So I met with him through someone, and then Gurudev was out at that time, and then I thought, yeah, he's basically a good man. I changed my opinion. And so then Gurudev comes back, and I think I'm such a good boy now that I've changed my opinion to make it one with Gurudev. And I can't wait to tell him how good I am. You know, I can't wait for him to come back and share the news. And Srila Gurudev comes and says, I said, Maharaj, you know, you'll be happy to know that I've changed my opinion about that person. I met with him, and I now, you know, I've changed what I think. And Gurudev, he says, I can never say that. And I'm going, what? And he says, He goes, I can never say that. He said, always finding fault with the devotees, envious of the devotees, you know. And he said, my religion is finding fault with myself. And then I thought, he who personifies Mahaprabhu's teaching of Trinadapi Sunichena Tororapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manat, you see it there above his head. That's the sloka, right? Always. And as Kaviraj Goswami says, wear this as a garland around your neck. And Gurudev, when I said, when did you embrace this? He said, oh, Maharaj, nothing else works, out of desperation. So, but he like condensed it further when he said, my religion is finding fault with myself. So beautifully expressed that way. So, Hare Krishna. So Madhusudan Maharaj, who have you selected to speak next?
Maharaj, since long ago, I've selected Kumkum Devi Dasi. Because Maharaj, we've seen, well, first of all, we know she's very senior, Srila Prabhupada's disciple. She's, as you would say, Maharaj, a trifactor devotee, received the mercy, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, and Srila Gurudev. But also we know her husband. I mean, Rishabh Dev Prabhu, his faith, his whole life, everything, his whole nature. We saw this firsthand. And I invite Kumkum Didi. She's representing him and her children, Mandakini, etc., who was with her in, with Rishabh Dev in India.
Bharachandra Prabhu, yeah.
And Bharachandra Prabhu also, yes, of course.
Hare Krishna. Jai Kumkum Didi.
My Dandavat to all the devotees. Yes, it's true. I was just seeing on the beautiful picture of Srila Govinda Gurudev, and there is that picture of my husband sitting with him at the airport. I also gave Gurudev a picture one time of my husband just before he left for India that final time, and he's playing mridanga amid total chaos. It's with our grandchildren, and he's simply playing mridanga, and little 2-year-old Jambavan is taking up his tiny mridanga and spontaneously trying to emulate his grandfather. And I really liked that very much. So I sent a copy of it to Srila Gurudev, and then later I asked him if he had received it, and he just immediately opened his little suitcase and pulled it out and showed me, and he said, this is parampara. And so it's very true that we received incredible mercy from Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj. And when everyone loves to hear those words, everyone all over the world, Trinadapi Sunichena. But the main thing that I think of about Srila Gurudev is how there was so much more than words, how, like Goswami Maharaj said, the personification of them. So it's just outstanding that he explains them like in a lengthy movie, helps us to understand some part of history perhaps, but his life, everything was total example. I was fortunate to have his association early on in perhaps 1983 when we went to Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, and at that time he was so much in the background, but he was running everything and taking care of everything for Srila Guru Maharaj. And one thing came up that was a disturbance, and I saw that Srila Gurudev managed it in such a way that you couldn't really feel any disturbance. He simply made it seem like somebody was needed to go shop somewhere in, I think it was Singapore. And so he just quietly arranged that the person who was creating the disturbance had an important errand to do, and that resolved everything. And I was curious why he handled it in that way, and only later came to understand that he's not just handling these difficult problems and making sure the kitchen is working and things are getting mopped when there's after a storm and that kind of administration, but his wholehearted desire that Srila Guru Maharaj not have any disturbance come into his field of service to our Guru Varga. And many years later, as you know, it was our great fortune that he come to America. And when we think back now, it's almost impossible to believe that that first world tour to America was 1 week. It was not even 7 days. It changed everything for our part of the world. And we, my daughter and I had actually moved out of our home. It fell on us just by the will of Providence that he and his entourage would stay in our home. There was a good bit of room. And so my daughter and I moved out to a friend's house for that time because we wanted them to have just full facility to move around, all the gentlemen together. And so when I would come over during the daytime to see Srila Gurudev and to offer my respects and to see if there was perhaps some service that I could do, I found that he was very surprised. He would call me refugee. He said, "You are a refugee." And he said it so many times and with so much affection. I got the impression that to him, that in his culture, this was pretty much unheard of, that you would go to someone's house and the woman of the house would leave. And so he went so far out of his way to, what a perfect gentleman, in addition to being everything else that we were thinking at the time, the closest connection we could get with Srila Prabhupada, with Srila Govinda, Guru Maharaj, that he's also a perfect gentleman and an example. And so the next year, I refused to leave. And that actually ended up working quite well. And he called me so many times. And one night especially, I learned more about his nature. So the first year, he had asked us to please find an ashram. There were devotees living in San Jose because there was a temporary temple there, and there were devotees living in Santa Cruz. And so he said, get something between Santa Cruz and San Jose. And so we had been looking and looking and looking, and we thought that we would have something. We almost did have something. And we were going to finish the purchase. And when I say we, I mean the whole community, like Srila Janarda Maharaj. And we were going to have finish it up, and it didn't need a lot of work. So we would have Srila Gurudev and his entourage stay there. And sort of last minute, it fell through. The real estate transaction just wouldn't go through. So at the last minute, it was decided that, again, he would stay in our home. And at the same time, they began seriously looking again at what is now Sokal Ashram. So the day that they took Srila Gurudev to see the one that had failed, like maybe he would want us to get that back. And actually, he hadn't been pleased with that one at all. It was so forested and dark and damp. And then when he saw Sokal Ashram, and everyone knows he didn't even get out of the car, he just put his cane on the ground and he said, take it. And then all the devotees had done an about face, and we were overjoyed. And so when he came home that night, many people were in his room having his darshan and hearing about the day. And I just wouldn't leave. And he was sitting on the end of his bed, so it didn't seem like he was asking me to leave, but everybody else left. And I perhaps being somewhat naughty, but I just would not leave until finally he looked right at me and he was so pensive. And finally, after a long silence, he said, "I did not want to go back empty-handed." And I feel so blessed to have heard that, because I came to understand that unlike myself, and I don't know how many others, getting an ashram was just a wonderful, momentous thing. And there'd be so many kirtans, and there'd be so many programs and devotees visiting, and it was so auspicious. To him, it didn't have anything to do with his acquisition. He would not leave the Holy Dham except for service. And so he wanted that there be something in California. And he perhaps had prayed before he left to Srila Guru Maharaj, "I'm just going, I'll be back, but I'm just going now to find a place for your glories to be sung in the Western world, starting in California." So here in San Jose, he also established this by, he wanted to also have a place in San Jose that was purchased and owned by the devotees, not by not rented place where Mahaprabhu could be removed. So he had taken Mahaprabhu briefly to Socal Ashram, which we now are settling. And after some time, he said that they call Sri Sri Gandharvika Giridhari. And after they had been there for some time by his arrangement, he said, now Gauranga Sundar wants to return to his home. And so he was, by that time, he had mentioned, to my great surprise, that while my husband was going to manage Socal Ashram, that I and Jivana Didi would manage the ladies' ashram in San Jose, where Gauranga Sundar presides. And so I was talking with him. I didn't know anything. I was very surprised to learn that he saw me as a leader of an ashram. But I was very busy to see how can I get a permanent place for Gauranga Sundar, because I knew that that was what he wanted. And somehow or other it came to be, and I saw this place or that place. And then finally, when I found the place where we are now, it was a time in real estate where you had to be very, very quick to purchase something. Otherwise, somebody else would buy it quickly. And so I proceeded very far. Within about 2 days, they were asking me if I was ready to buy it or not. And so I wrote him a letter and an email. And I also copied Vaishnav Maharaj, who was Sridhar Prabhu at the time, and said, please show this to Srila Gurudev right away. And the response came. I was actually still talking with the realtor and still trying to make it happen, because I knew that I could back out if for any reason Srila Gurudev had said this was not going to be a suitable place. But I had described to him as closely as I could. And so one day I was working at the time in Hewlett Packard, and I was inside the office with an awful lot of people, like 100 people were around, and got a phone call from the realtor. And she said, so what is the best offer that you would like to make for this? And I just had some inspiration, because I was looking also at my personal email, which was Srila Gurudev's answer. And Srila Gurudev had just simply answered. I thought he was going to say, well, maybe there's something that's better, or the neighborhood, or something like that. But his answer was, if you can do this, you will be blessed by Srila Guru Maharaj and our Guru Varga. And I'm looking at this page, and the same time I got the phone call from the realtor, who said, how much would you pay? And I just was thinking, it has nothing to do with my payment. It has nothing to do with, I mean, my hand will be signing on the dotted line, but that's not what it is. It's that Srila Gurudeva is arranging this. So I said the amount, and Srila and the realtor said, well, then I want you to stand up. And I'm looking around, there's like 100 people watching me in an office situation. And she said, and now I want you to do the victory dance. And so I understood then that this was going to somehow or other come to be. And I couldn't understand how, but I watched all the devotees working so hard and so enthusiastically for a few months. And then finally it was time to invite Srila Gurudev to inaugurate it, which he did, and blessed us by staying here for 4 days and gave us all the final instructions. And he always said he wanted us to have a place in San Jose as well. He called the labor room of his mother, because this is where the divine books, the words of his Guru Maharaj, were first rendered into publication just a few blocks from here, headed by our dear Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj. And so Srila Gurudev always thought of San Jose as the labor room of his mother, a very, very important place on this planet. And now we can see, especially with this quarantine, that things are so quiet, but we know that this is necessary to maintain, and it will come to be that all of these people in this enormously packed section of the world who don't know about Srila Gurudev, now they'll have a facility to come and hear about him. So,
we've got to thank you for your contribution, Kumkum Didi. We can happily hear all night long, actually. But with your permission, Didi, we can ask some of Gurudev's disciples, because it's their evening, it's his Vyasa Puja also.
yeah.
And
Yes,
Didi, we appreciate very much, because your bond with Gurudev, Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada is so much, and to see how Gurudev is working through the devotees by his wish. It is, you are a first-hand witness to so many miracles.
To so much mercy, Maharaj.
Yes. Jai Kumkum Devi Rasi Ki Jai. Maharaj, I'd like to invite, we have many senior devotees, everybody is worshipable, all the devotees are worshipable. But Maharaj, would you like to say somebody specifically? Otherwise, I can ask.
I cannot see the gallery, so you select.
Okay, Maharaj, I was going to ask one humble, sincere devotee who was one of the Navadip office, and he can say some things from his heart, and we don't often see him, but today we've got this opportunity, this Mahamantra Prabhu. And he's represented by his mother, Praneshwari, very often. But he's Srila Gurudev's disciple. He was in Navadip with us in the office. And we invite you, Mahamantra Prabhu, to please share a few words with us. But try, please, to keep it within 5 minutes so we can let one or two others, because the time, as I found out, goes past very fast these days.
Dandavat Pranam, Maharaj. I'm not qualified to even go for 1 minute talking glories of Gurudev in front of so many Vaishnavas. But all I can say is that it's basically the one of the ideas that has struck me more in Krishna consciousness is that we, as like in the same way that we can get the Lord Krishna through Mahaprabhu, we get Gurudev through his devotees. So that very, very basic idea of our teachings, it has been expressed to me many times, like in my very unqualified life, in my very simple life, I have seen through Gurudev devotees how like his infinite grace have come to my life. And I can see that. I have felt that many times, and I keep feeling how through the association of his devotees, we always get his grace. Maharaj, I feel so happy to see you all like every time I have connection to connect. But I can't say any more but to ask of grace present there everywhere in the world, because and somehow we are a family and we always get inspiration from each other. But you, Maharaj, and all of our seniors are protecting us. So my Danda pranams, all glories to Srila Bhakti Sudhir Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj in his appearance day. My pranams. Dandavad, Dandavad.
Jai Mahamantra, thank you very much. And I put you on the spot, I know, but from your heart, I know you are always able to come and give a wonderful contribution. We appreciate, Prabhu, with our respects and affection. Maharaj, may I kindly ask you, Keshavananda Prabhu, Gurudev's disciple, he's always giving us some different ways to see Gurudev, but Keshavananda, I'm going to have to humbly ask, if possible, for 5 English punctual minutes, because we know that you can very joyfully talk for unlimited time.
Timer. After 5 minutes goes beep, beep, beep.
Maharaj has
remember the timer.
Yes. Maharaj, I'm like the duck among the swans here. I should just launch into Kirupe Paibo Seva and let that be my contribution. But we just heard recently from the first, from the beginning of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, this beautiful shloka of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, of how Mahaprabhu wove a garland of Krishna Prema and the Krishna Nam, and used that garland. He placed that garland around the whole samsara, the whole material creation. So we're feeling that our Srila Gurudev also wove a garland of love and affection, that he circled the whole material creation with that. Sri Lekadidi reminded me this morning of Gurudev saying, "You do not know your good fortune, but I do." All woven on this thread from that poem that's just bubbled up and we heard referred to this morning with the refrain, "Ami Guru Das Nahi Anya." Ami Guru Das Nahi Anya, all flavors of how he is only his Gurudev's servant, nothing else. And how he is also, recently another one of his dear disciples, course correction is always necessary, and adjustment that comes through the servants comes from Gurudev through his servants. And I was saying something in London to Sachi Didi, something about, this material world and, look at the state of it. We don't really want to be here. And she kind of looked at me and said, "Oh, but Gurudev," and she referred me to that poem. Gurudev saying, "I will sound the kettle drums of victory throughout the world." That was his clarion call. I'm going to come and empty the place because my Guru Maharaj has that power to do that. These are not just these Paramahansas are Mahaprabhu's men coming to save us all. So what can I say? There's nothing. I have no qualification or anything, but I'm so fortunate to be here with you all and to be somehow or other under that beautiful shining. We hear that divine dedicating wonderful substance is beyond imagination. That furthest imagination can't capture it, who he is and what he's carrying, and that it lives in the heart of the saint that is shining with Ujvala Rasa, with Sattva Ujvale Badam, is shining the light into this misconceived plane. So any of us, and Gurudev would also talk quite often about the grandfather position, how the grandfather is even more merciful than the father. And now we are sitting with so many of our brothers and sisters, they are the grandchildren, grand disciples of Gurudev. So even more fortunate, even more mercy coming to them. In every way, in every conceivable and inconceivable way, in every movement of his lotus hand. We heard today from Krishna Kanta Didi of his lotus eyes and the depth of wonder that exists in the lotus eyes of Sri Gurudev. What to speak of his lotus face, his lotus feet, his lotus belly, everything beautiful and shining with the light and innocence and joy of that plane that we're all, that land that Guru Maharaj says, we are all come out of our own respective caves to join that procession leading to Vrindavan. So many of us want to go to the domain of love, to the land of our dreams. Do or die, he says, do or die. So Gurudev's coming to do or die us and capture us in his embrace and give us the power and enthusiasm and each other that we may continue on this audacious attempt to try to render some service to that land of love. Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj and all the Vaishnavas.
Perfect timing, Keshavananda. Hey, we were just with Keshavananda for some months in Italy, and you know he knows our clock that we keep with us. Maharaj, one humble request for one more. I know the time has run by quickly, but the next generation of devotees, just for 5 minutes, then we're inviting Gurudev's disciple, because it's Gurudev's Vyasa Puja day today, but Ekadashi Devi Dasi from Tomsk. And if she can say a few words, because she does know English, and she's probably one of the youngest disciples of Srila Gurudev. And also Paramanand Prabhu is here to help her along. And so it is your day. It's especially the day for all of us, but the day for the devotees of Gurudev, the disciples of Gurudev. So Paramanand Prabhu, please help if necessary. But Ekadashi, you may speak on behalf of your family.
I'm so shy. Очень радостно, что все эти дни были наполнены служением и были фестивальные дни, которые были полностью заполнены подготовкой к этому дню.
Well, Ekadashi Didi is saying that she's feeling very joyful because these festival days were filled with service and preparations for this day, Srila Gurudev's appearance.
И на самом деле сейчас сложно что-то сказать, потому что хочется услышать, а не говорить. О Гурудеве и о его деяниях. Я мало что могу о нем сказать. Все, что я знаю о нем, я слышала от наших старших преданных, от наших вайшнавов.
And I'm feeling very difficult to say something. Actually, I much prefer to hear from the senior Vaishnavas. And in fact, whatever I know about Srila Gurudev, I heard from the senior Vaishnavas.
И я часто, видя наших старших преданных, понимаю, насколько был чудесный Шрила Гурудев. Потому что наши преданные очень прекрасные, у них прекрасные качества, которыми я восхищаюсь.
And when I observed the devotees, the disciples of Srila Gurudev, our senior Vaishnava section, I'm always feeling astonished and inspired and amazed by the qualities they reflect. And I know that these qualities are coming from Srila Gurudev, and I'm always very inspired to see that.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj Abhibharvetiti ki Jai. And Maharaj, we have one more full disciple of Srila Gurudev who we must hear from this evening for some time. Please, Srila Bhakti Bimal Avadhut Maharaj, please, you can, on behalf of everybody who's not spoken, you can share something.
I disagree because I spoke this morning and summarized, and we haven't heard anything from Krishna Kanta. We haven't heard Bhakti Lalita. We need to give chance. What about Krishna Kanta from Italy?
Okay, I have no objection, and I'm sure nobody has an objection, Maharaj.
He is direct disciples of Gurudev, not only direct disciples, as he saved her personal life, which she later gave it to him back by creating this incredible place from which we all joyfully expressing our appreciation of the service. It's our European hub, and near Michelangelo, next to Leonardo. And we call her La Madrina, the Holy Mother, and she's planning to take over Vatican when time will come.
Maharaj, this is not fair. I was looking forward to hear from you, and everyone was.
Yes, but that's you. What about Gurudev? What if I'm speaking on his behalf?
Anyway, well, okay, I already spoke this morning, and there are so many here. But
just 5 minutes.
Anyway, yes. Well, I'm so grateful actually to be here with you all, and it's so inspiring to see all your beautiful faces. And I cannot see your heart, but I can feel your devotional heart is coming through the internet. And so we feel really, today is the day that we express how much fortunate we feel. And of course, we had a great fortune to have Srila Gurudev in Italy with us on many occasions. And the first time, we had the fortune to invite him for the first time. He wanted to see Rome, and we invited him there. And then after that, he said, try to establish a center in Italy. And so we try, and here are the pillar of Villa Govinda. We try for many years. Here is Madhusudan Prabhu, who is hiding here, and Shantimai, and where is that? Rituraj, and many devotees that they're all giving their energy and time and service. And today, Shantimai decorated the altar as all every festival very nicely. And we had a beautiful Guru Puja under the snow in front of his Pushpa Samadhi that by the mercy of so many devotees manifested here in Villa Govinda. I don't mention the name before I forget someone. I don't want to offend anybody. And so we had a very beautiful day, and so what the best beginning to begin a year. And yes, I don't know. I wasn't expect to speak. And but yes, Gurudev was definitely so affectionate. And as I was saying this morning, when he was alive, we have any question, we could go to him, and we felt he was fully with us, fully supporting us, giving his instruction. And now that he's not any longer visible in front of our eyes, we can still feel this giving so much love and affection to all of you and the devotees and all the devotees. And we don't feel any lack of anything. We are still full with the mercy of Gurudev, and so much joy all around us. Wherever we look around, we see just joy, because we are in the middle of devotees, so cannot be any sadness whenever we look around us. That is.
Yeah.
So.
I want to say one sentence, which is pumping in my head. I will explore this in the Russian program. But we say, Bhagyavan Jiv, fortunate soul. What does it really mean? Rupe Brahmani Brahmite Kon, Bhagyavan Jiv. What is the fortunate soul definition according to scriptures? Guru Krishna Prashade Bai Bhakti Lade Bish. Guru, first you have to get the Guru. Then through the media of Guru Krishna Prashade Bai Bhakti Lade Bish. So that is what we are all witnessing within others' heart, maybe not in our own heart, which is a proper way to see, but this incredible appreciation of fortunate souls that are connect with specifically, if we look at the spiritual world, then we can understand we all live in Krishna's family, which is infinite, but there's a family inside of family. So there's like Saraswati Thakur, Guru Maharaj, Prabhupada, but there's also Saraswati Thakur, Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, and etc. So what Madhusudan Maharaj said was very, very good. And we should see also what is the expansion of this Gurudev's mercy in form of, like, I was very impressed. I just want to share with you something we may not notice. I may not everybody say. When I came here to Thailand, Chiang Mai, as I'm wandering from nowhere, I'm going place to place. I don't have any fixed place to stay. But, I'm seeing what is the changes, what is improvement, what's good, what's bad. And I was very impressed with certain devotees. One of them, Sulakshana, she cooked for Goswami Maharaj every day. And I see, like, why is so much glow coming from her body? Like, I see some kind of a radiant glow. Like, I don't know, is it spiritual or just my personal impression? And then I'm thinking, yes, she's also sitting and translating lecture of Goswami Maharaj to China, back to Chinese. Then I understand other devotees that's working very hard. And I think I'm just giving her as an example. And I see these are very fortunate souls because giving so much concentration and cooking, serving the guru, trying to represent the idea of the guru to their people. And we know maybe in China, they don't know much about Krishna consciousness like everywhere else in the world. Then I can understand how much powerful the mercy of the service of the guru and Vaishnava, and we all experience this in our life. I would not be mighty Avadhut Maharaj if I would not met Govinda Maharaj. I'll be like some kind of a bomb in New York, probably dead by now. Most of us, would be doing something, maybe somebody could do materially well, but that doesn't like take you from the world of death. Yeah. So that's the important statement we have. We fortunate souls, and our prayer is to our Guru, please continue that mercy so that we can be receptors of that fortune. Otherwise, to say, oh, when the time of Govinda Maharaj, I was a servitor, and now, I'm smoking pot in my own little room and lament about things in the past. That's also great. We know that's possible, but being in active service until last breath, to continue Gurudev's mission, to continue, this great injection and being a tube by which some divine substance is going, it's very great. So that's my personal witness that this idea of Guru Krishna Prashade Bai is not some kind of a mystery from past, which unfortunately, a lot of devotees lament. They post pictures, look at me in Dhoti in my young days. That's wonderful. We're not criticizing that. What we're trying to say, that is happening here and today. So many people were so much concerned about, oh, Prabhupada left the world, now there's no one to serve. But we know that's not true. And we know how many great servants came from, places when God knows where. And they haven't even met Prabhupada, but they just read the book and it clicked in their heart and they surrender and they did so well. So we are thankful to all of you who maintaining this mission, who stay in contact, and we never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow, God knows, the world has changed and people are going to need more of our help. That's obvious. Sorry. Jai. You spoke.
Madhusudan Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj.
Is there, I think we have 10 minutes or 5 minutes.
Then Maharaj, if you, for 10 minutes or 5 minutes, we have Sri Hari Prabhu with us. We would all love to hear from him.
I also, Hare Krishna.
Sri Hari Prabhu. You need to yes. Humbly we ask you. We can't hear you, Prabhu. Your microphone's unmuted, but somehow...
Wait a sec.
Okay, good.
Now I believe you can hear me.
Yes, Prabhu. We are all ears to hear.
Yeah, Dhanavad Pranams. I was using a different audio device here. Well, first of all, I'm really surprised. I didn't expect that to have to say anything at all. We're here in Brazil, and the mission here is very small, but we have Srila Trivikram Maharaj, which is a very powerful guy and a very good friend of mine for so many years. I've been a good friend to Bhuvan Mohan, which was in the last days Tapasvi Maharaj, and of course Rohini Shakti Didi, which was kind of my yoga mother, I can say. And they pretty much, they forced me, you know, to get to know the mission and to get to know Srila Gurudev. And I was just talking, one of these days I was talking to a friend of mine, to a spiritual brother, and he was kind of complaining for the fact that Srila Gurudev is not in this planet anymore, and Siddha Maharaj is not here anymore, and Swami Maharaj is not here anymore. And he was kind of, you know, heavily thinking about that. And as he was saying that, I started to feel something which was very, very new to me in a way, because I really feel that they are, and not only they are present, you know, just as Srila Avadhut Maharaj was saying right now, they are present in the voice of all the great Vaishnavas, you know, all this opportunity that I had to watch Goswami Maharaj classes and your classes and Janardhan Maharaj and Nashra Maharaj, you know, not only they are present in this world, Swami Maharaj, Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev, not only they are present through these great Vaishnavas that you are, but they are giving us wonderful presents every day. And if we cannot see that, I think we miss the point. It's not a body connection. You know, we have to watch everything happening all the time. They are giving us presents and their mercy every day. I'm not qualified to say anything. I don't think I'm even qualified to hear, but I'm very happy to be here with you all. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Jai Sri Hari Prabhu.
So Madhusudan Maharaj, very nice, Sri Hari Prabhu. I would just like to say one thing in conclusion.
Yes, Maharaj,
okay.
Please.
Is that when Srila Guru Maharaj transferred the acharjaship of Chaitanya Saraswat Mat to Srila Gurudev and giving him sannyasa in 1985, the day after, Srila Guru Maharaj was saying, I should have said something in glorification of him, but I was like controlling myself not to do that. He wanted it to, almost it mystified himself why he was refraining from doing that. But I think because he didn't want them to be on the same day. Let the sannyas be an event of its own and the transfer of the acharjaship, and at another time that he would sing the glories of Srila Gurudev, as he did often. But he was thinking like that, oh, why didn't I? And so then he took those moments and he told various stories in glorification of Srila Gurudev, and saying how when he was himself very, very ill and most likely to leave the world, we know Srila Gurudev's lifelong affection for Mahadev Shiva, and being one of his own men, Guru Maharaj said, a Parshada or son of Shiva, this type of intimacy. And while bathing, he was praying to Shiva for some medicine for Srila Guru Maharaj. And he heard mystically this sound vibration, Kali Phos, Kali Phos. And at the time, he didn't know homeopathy, and he searched. He just started going to pharmacy and saying, have you ever heard of something called, some medicine called Kali Phos? No, we've not heard. Another place, not. Then he finds out it's homeopathic medicine, and he got that, and Guru Maharaj is saying it basically saved his life, made his heart better. So he said, I think some siddhi he has. And so many things there. He's reading the palm, Jyotir Bhushan, he's reading the palm of Srila Guru Maharaj. You see, Guru Maharaj is like a child, and Gurudev saying, oh, and it says this, and it says that, and telling Guru Maharaj all kinds of wonderful things to be read in his palm. And so Guru Maharaj said, though, this one story in glorification of Srila Gurudev that, as is still maintained at the Mad, is the annual food collection, potato collection, rice collection. They go to different villages, and the people come forward and give a sack of rice or whatever they're able to do. And so Srila Gurudev went to this one town, and the most wealthy man there was a notorious miser. He was known not to give anything to anyone. So the local boys there, they thought this is going to be fun. They see Govinda Maharaj coming, and they're saying, you're not going to get anything. Let's all go watch this. We're going to see how you get shut down. It'll be joy for us. And Srila Govinda Maharaj said, what? He said, I will leave here with a cartload of rice. Watch. So they all go, and so they think it's going to be zero. Govinda Maharaj has said a cartload. And then, so he goes in and preaches to that man, and they see Srila Govinda Maharaj leaving with a cartload of rice. And they're all shocked and upset. And they go and approach that man, and they say, what is this? You're such a miser. You never give anything to us. And he's leaving with a cartload. Why is that? And the man said, he filled my heart with some supernatural joy. I would have given him more if he asked for it. But this line, he said, he filled my heart with some supernatural joy. So I think that what we can all say is that His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Sudhir Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, all of us, he's filled our hearts with some supernatural joy. That's what we're hearing from all the different Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, that supernatural joy that Srila Gurudev flooded their hearts with, that whatever our own position might be, that much is undeniable. He's had that effect upon everyone who came in connection with him, comes in connection with him, either directly or indirectly. We can appreciate that. And especially it becomes obvious and most apparent on his appearance day, when all of his disciples assemble and from their hearts vent these beautiful, loving expressions and the varieties of his pastimes and interaction with his loving servitors. So His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Sudhir Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj, Avirbhav Mahamahotsavatiti ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Govinda Raj Sri Vyasa Puja ki jai.
Jai.
Nitai Go Premanande. Hari Harai Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hari Harai Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra. Garadhara Sri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jiva Gopala Dasa Raghunath. Echai Gochai Kori Charana Bandhan. Jaha Hoite Vignanash Abhishta Puran. Echai Gochai Jar Mui Tarodas. Kansabara Padarenu Mora Panchagras. Kandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevas. Janame More Abhilas. Echai Gosai Jabe Braje Koilovan. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korilo Prathan. Anande Boro Hari Bhaja Vrindavan. Sri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Yaman. Sri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas. Harinam Sankirtan Kohe Narotamadan. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev, Jai Jai Gurudev, Gurudev, Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Acharya Satar Sada Sri Srimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj Avirbhav Mahamahotsavati Ki Jai Srila Govinda Maharaj Sri Vyasa Puja Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev-Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Jai Saparikar Shri Sri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Govinda Sundar Jiu Ki Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Go Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Sri Bamanpar Ki Jai Ganga Devi Jamuna Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Vishvavaranya Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Brinda Ki Jai Jai Srila Bhakti Niral Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Srila Bhakti Kusum Ashram Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Srila Bhakti Vijay Trivikram Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Srila Bhakti Bimal Avadhut Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Sri Bhakti Lalita Devi Dasi Ki Jai Krishna Kanta Didi Ki Jai Munindra Mohan Prabhu Ki Jai Paramananda Prabhu Ki Jai Sri Devashis Prabhu Ki Jai Sri Kumkum Didi Ki Jai all the senior disciples of Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Srila Gurudev Vyasa Puja Ki Jai, Srila Gurudev Avirbhav Mahamahotsavati Ki Jai, Nitai Go Premanande, Haribo.
Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaja Ki Jai. And Jai Srila Bhakti Sevan Rishikesh Maharaj, who's joined us with the Abhazya devotees Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Hari Hari. Vanchakaupatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Subhada Didi, Akadashi Didi, very nice. They spoken. Udaran Prabhu, Dandavat. Devashis Prabhu in the East London Mat, Dandavat. Paramananda Prabhu in Japan, Dandavat. Oh, Sureshri Didi, Hare Krishna. Wow. Joy. And the Seva Ashram in Sokhel, Sureshri Didi. And I have to say, when we're on Gurudev on the veranda in Calcutta, and Gurudev was saying, oh, Maharaj, I want to go to Sokhel. And I was saying, oh, you're being drawn by the love and affection and the hearts of the devotees there. And he said, no doubt that is there. He said, but that is not why. And I'm saying, then why are you being drawn to go to Sokhel? And he said, Sureshri Didi's breakfast. He said, that's why I want to go. Hare Krishna. We look forward to that breakfast sometime too, that we will honor in remembrance of his divine grace. He said, do this in remembrance of me. So we also take prasadam. Hare Krishna. Nilamani Prabhu, Dandavat. And Madhavilata Didi, Dandavat. and Yogamaya Didi, Dandavat, Hare Krishna. Praneshwari Didi, Dandavat. Sri Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat. Shakira Didi in South Africa, Dandavat. Giridhari Prabhu, Dandavat. Rishikesh Maharaj and all the devotees there in Abhazia, Dandavat. Banavi Didi and Askar, Dandavat. Trilokanath Prabhu, Dandavat. Malini Didi, Dandavat. And here we have, who is here? Huh? Oh, Dandavat, teachers. Hare Krishna. Keep teaching those children about Krishna. Adi Dev, Shyamala Devi Dasi, Dandavat. Chandrakanti Didi, Dandavat. She has her saffron hat on. Susmita Didi, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Ajita Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat. Lalita Priya. Abhiram Prabhu, Dandavat. Kalindi Priya, Dandavat. Indumukhi, Dandavat. Sankalpa, her name is not Sankalpa, but her place is Sankalpa, right? Correct? Her name is Sankalpa. Oh, also. Oh, okay. I have to adjust that a little bit. Dai Dandi Maharaj, Bhakti Asrai Dandi Maharaj, Dandavat. Saraswati Didi and Lakta, Arundhati Didi, Rajasundari Didi, Dandavat. She's in Israel. Ragaleka Didi, Dandavat, of Darjalila, Dandavat. And, Rasa, Dandavat. Kamalini Dandavat, Nityananda Das from here, Mahanam Das, Narayani, and Harkiv. Mahanam Prabhu there, Dandavat, Hare Krishna, Dandavat to everyone there. Hare Krishna. All right. Vanchakalpa Tribhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna.